NFL. Jayden Daniels, Cowherd, you're smiling over there because Daniels was incredible last year. You called it. They went to the NFC Championship. He's hoping to avoid a sophomore slump.
Cliff was kind of just tailored the offense to my strengths, player strengths. And obviously we had conversations of, he wanted me to be as comfortable as possible. So we had conversations like, I didn't like this or I don't like that. And he might have argued a little bit, but ultimately he wouldn't call a play that I wasn't comfortable with.
Jayden Daniels, you don't hear from him much. Great temperament. He's another one of these players that comes in and just has the right temperament. Just doesn't need to be in a million commercials. Just, I'm going to win a bunch of games. I'll worry about that later.
I will say I wasn't that bullish on him coming out of LSU. A lot of stat padding against bad teams. He's amazing. He's a really talented quarterback. And they added Deebo Samuel, kept their OC in Kingsbury, added left tackle Laramie Tunsil.
Folks, he just had the best rookie season by any quarterback in the history of the sport.
And the team got better.
Oh, and not a good roster. I mean, when Andrew Luck came in, he took him to 11 wins. He was good, but he was mistake prone. But similarly, I mean, Andrew Luck was really good. By year 2, 3, he still made mistakes. He was great. This kid didn't make the mistakes. He was like one of the best fourth quarter quarterbacks in the sport.
He was lights out on third down and fourth down. Like, I don't know if you can continue that. I had a guy come up to me at the gym yesterday. J-Mac, I'm a huge Eagles fan. Who do we have to worry about? We're going back to the Super Bowl. I was like, hey, Washington's pretty good, man.
Well, they spent a lot of money. They probably found between the draft and free agency 7 starters. 7 upgrades, and he'll be better as a sophomore than a rookie.
I'm curious what the schedule looks like, but the arrow's pointing up for Jayden Daniels.
Okay, let's talk about this. I've been the Jayden Daniels whisperer. I'm the one that predicted all of the greatness of Jayden Daniels and when it happened. You can check my record on that. I've done my fair share of victory laps on him. So, yeah. I do not believe there's going to be any sophomore slump at all. Listen, is he going to be as lights out on the third and fourth downs? Hopefully they're not going to need him to be, right? Like that's actually the plan. Is it guaranteed that they're going to get back to the NFC Championship game or beyond? Absolutely, positively not, right? Could his numbers go down in different situations? Absolutely, because what people have to understand, they say that this was, the best rookie season. This was one of the best seasons for a quarterback in general. I'm not saying that Jayden Daniels had like a top 5, top 10 year or something like that, but when we look at quarterback play over all the quarterbacks who can play, over all the seasons, and over all what you can accomplish as a team and what your team asks you to do. Listen, there's been other quarterbacks that have thrown for more yards, more touchdowns, whatever. But when you look and see what Jayden Daniels was asked to do, when he was asked to do it, with the team that he had as a rookie, it was one of the best seasons for just a quarterback in general. Okay? I mean, again, everybody was praising Lamar Jackson for, inventing, what was it, the 4,900 club? Yeah, Lamar Jackson was the first quarterback to ever do that. And yet, Jayden Daniels, who didn't play the final game, he got knocked out, unfortunately, of the game against the Panthers, and he would have had it. I mean, he would have had it. It's just basic math. He would have reached the 4,900 club. That's not even remotely like a hot take. Like it's just basic elementary math. He was right there if he played actually like the full season start to finish. And especially if he didn't kind of get banged up with his ribs. But like we can say that those games are fine. Fine, you got a little banged up, he still played. You gotta, if you're on the field, then you gotta compete. Like fine, whatever. But like if he didn't get taken out of the final game of the season because it didn't matter, as well as actually being legitimately knocked out of the game against the Panthers, he does it. He's 4,000 passing and 900 rushing. I mean, if we're saying that that's amazing and historical for Lamar Jackson, well then it certainly is for Jayden Daniels. And Jayden Daniels, didn't have Derrick Henry as being a monster source of offense for that team. It's so like that matters significantly. Like, you know, it's no denying it that Jayden Daniels did more with less. So what he did was absolutely unbelievably amazing. And that's the thing. Am I expecting him now every year to be on pace to just rush, you know, to pass for 4,000 plus yards and rush for 900? No, and I don't want him to, because it's too much on the quarterback's shoulders, quite frankly. It really is. When you're winning games and you have a great defense, it's like throw for 3,500, 3,600 and rush for like 400, 500. You know, like that's how you know that your team is doing well. That's how you know your defense is taking care of business. That's how you know you're able to hand the ball off in the fourth quarter, milk the clock, and go home with the W. So like I'm not expecting him to constantly put up these amazing, unbelievable numbers. And if the offense is running correctly, like, you shouldn't have to like go for it on fourth down all the time. And also you shouldn't need Jayden Daniels to be a superhero on these third and fourth downs. I mean, we saw that throughout the playoffs where it was just like, oh my God, every single time it was just like, please find a way to convert this down, you know, to convert this. Ideally, the Commanders aren't going to need that from him. But is he going to have games where he's just now frazzled and it's just like, oh, it just doesn't look the same and he's so confused? No. Is he still going to have some of his ups and downs? Of course. In his amazing season last year, he still had plenty of moments when you were like, ooh, even against the Eagles, even when he won that game, like he had a couple interceptions in that game where you were just like, oh, I'm watching that and I'm like, ooh, I don't know how I can explain that one outside of him just being a rookie. You know, it's like, that was a really bad throw, you know, and it was just like, but hey, you know what? He's a rookie. It happens, you know. Luck, you know, fortunately for him, he ends up pulling off that win. So it's like no one really cares about it. But like those moments still exist and they're still going to exist for him. If you're expecting him to be in his absolute prime and be at the top of his game in year 2 with a snap of the finger, it's like, it's not going to necessarily happen. It's possible, but like, you know, this is all a process. But this idea that there's going to be this sophomore slump, I just 100% reject. If the O-line was trash, if Cliff Kingsbury moved on, took a head coaching job, you know, et cetera, if I didn't believe in Cliff Kingsbury as great of an offensive coordinator that I believe him to be, because that was part of my reason why I thought that Jayden Daniels was going to be so great so quickly with this Commanders team. I was like, Dan Quinn gets to worry about the culture and be the head coach, and he's going to ideally, and this didn't happen as much as I thought, get the defense like really on track. And then Cliff Kingsbury, I was like, and I did the whole breakdowns in the offseason. Cliff Kingsbury is actually a great coach. He's a great offensive coordinator. He had a tremendous amount of success. He was honestly scapegoated in Arizona, and they were doing really well until they got decimated with injury. I mean, I went through all of it. And so you still have Cliff Kingsbury there. And if anything, one of my arguments before, and I said this again before the season even started last year, I was like, you want to take advantage of Cliff and Jayden Daniels, because I was like, I promise you, they're going to have so much success that Cliff Kingsbury is going to leave and get a head coaching job. And I said that before like this even started, and people understandably so were like, no, he's going to want to stay. And I'm like, no, they're going to have so much success that Cliff Kingsbury's stock is going to be through the roof. He's going to want redemption. He's going to want to be a head coach again, and it's going to happen. It is. So that's why it's like, it's great to be able to go through these first couple of years with Cliff and Jayden, so Jayden can really learn and grow as much as possible. And Cliff did cater, you know, and you know, that offense around Jayden Daniels. And that was the smart move to go. It's like, let's just get you comfortable first. Then we're going to teach you and help you, you know, evolve and grow, you know, minimize your weaknesses, increase your strengths. You know, it's always a balance between minimizing your weaknesses that you just can't turn into strengths, and then also trying to figure out and isolate the weaknesses that you have and say, can we turn them into strength? Okay, you're not, you know, you're a 4 at doing, let's just say, and this is a made up example, you're a 4 at throwing the ball 20 yards down the field. Can we get you to a 6 or a 7? And if not, then we know, okay, we got to minimize this aspect of your game. You know, it's like it's constantly trying to figure out, you know, what are the things that you can improve upon? What are the things that, like, you know what, it's just not part of your game. It's just not where your expertise is going to lie. We can improve a little bit, but not enough to really make that big of a difference. So the name of the game is to just try to minimize this as best we can. You know, every single player has that aspect of it, and a great coach is great at figuring that out. And I think it was great that they didn't, you know, that Cliff Kingsbury and Jayden Daniels, for that matter, like, didn't try to do too much. And now this is the process of really growing and taking, a big step forward. So I think a lot of times when you have a sophomore slump, there's a disconnect with the coaching. There's a disconnect with just the overall offense in general. Like you have a bad O-line, no run game, whatever, or that first year success was a little bit more fluky. You threw a lot of balls that easily could have been intercepted, but they didn't. You got some lucky bounces your way. You got bailed out. You had a terrible division. You played bad defenses, whatever. Like that was not the case for the Washington Commanders. Did they win a lot of close games? Did they win a lot of, did they need a ton of heroics from Jayden Daniels in the fourth quarter and whatnot? Absolutely. Can you rely on that for the rest of your career? Absolutely not. As the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes learned as well, right? That it's not sustainable. Can you do it for stretches? Absolutely. When you do it for stretches, does it show you how special and great you are? Absolutely. Can you do it game in and game out from now until, you're 40? No, and you shouldn't have to, and you shouldn't be held to that standard either. So it's going to be interesting to see how the conversation around Jayden Daniels morphs, and what it looks like this coming season. But I look forward to it being like October or November, and there's going to be a take on First Things First, and they're going to be like, surprise, Jayden Daniels isn't experiencing sophomore slump, and I'm going to be like, I made a video back in May, and I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to look at myself, and I'm going to be like, see, I told you all that there was going to be no sophomore slump. Book it now. That's the way it goes. Nothing more needs to be said. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders and Jayden Daniels and that scary, scary, scary sophomore slump? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.